I'll create a file called signinform.js. So I made a spelling mistake, so I have modified it to signinform, and I'll change it everywhere. Signinform. And here also an export, I will change it to signinform. So done with my changes. Now I'll go to my sign in page, and here I'll call my sign in form component, so that I can write a sign in form here. So I'll call my sign in form component, and I'll save my page. As you can see here, still the form appears. Okay, I have to start my server. So I'll start my server, and as you can see here, sign in form comes. Now in my sign in form, here as you can see, okay, my sign in form I'll write using Formik library. So this is the documentation of the Formik library. So I'll make use of this Formik. So it has different functionalities, like when a form is submitted, so it makes use of the Yup. We can do two types of validation. One is like manual validation, we can write validation our own, or we can make use of the Yup library. So it is a library, basically validates my form, and if the form values are correct, then only it will allow me to submit my form. This is the command to install Yup library. So this is how the validation is done using the Yup library. Now back in my sign in form page, I'll remove this div, and I'll start using my Formik library. So I'll write here Formik. So Formik is not defined, so I have to import Formik from my Formik library. So for that, import Formik from Formik. So I have imported. Now we have to write the form here. So for that, so inside the Formik, I have a tag called form. Inside the form, I have to write the fields. So I have to import my form also. So as you can see, my form is not defined, error has come. So to avoid this, I'll import my form, and inside the form I'll write field. So I have two fields for my sign in page. One is I have to enter username and password. So here I use two fields, and I'll use a button for my form submission. So field is not defined, so let me declare the field. It will be there in Formik library. So as you can see, two form fields appear here, but since we have not given any styling, so they align horizontally. So let me give a styling here. Let me give the names here first. So this field will have a name of username, and this field will have a name of password. And here I have to give a placeholder, so that the default string appears inside my text box. As you can see in the original website, it is either phone number or email address. So I'll write the same thing here. So I'll write the placeholder as phone number, username or email is required. So as you can see the placeholder there. Now for my password field, I'll give the placeholder as password. So done. So as you can see here, both the placeholders exists. Now they should be aligned vertically. So for that I'll give a class name of flex and then flex call. So they are aligned vertically now. But since my button submission has not been written, so if I click on that, it gives me error. So for the Formik, I'll give a class name. I'll give a width to be 70% and see how it frames. So this div, because the parent div width is 70%, I'll give super parent width to be 100%. So let me see how it appears. Yes, this has taken the 70% width. So I will delete the width property from Formik and I will give it to form. As you can see, my input fields are of 70% width of that of the parent. Now back in my parent, I'll give the properties of flex and I'll give justify center property, so that as you can see my input fields are aligned in the center of the form. Now I'll apply some CSS styling. So I'll give height to be 40%. And I'll give height to be 40%, and for the button 30%, and for the button I'll give a height property of 20%. And let me see, they appear like this. So let me reduce to 30%, and as you can see, I should not click the button since I have not completed my form yet. So I have given 30%, 30% and 20%. Now I'll give a gap of, I'll give a property of border for my input fields. I'll give border width to be 1 pixel. I'll give it for both my input fields. And as you can see now, a border appears. Now there is some kind of padding with the placeholder. So let me go ahead and implement that. So for that I'll give my border to be rounded, so it has some curvy border. So here for this button also I'll give border to be curvy. So as you can see, it has some kind of curved border. Now it's time to take care of the styling for button. So for that I'll give BG color to be blue, and let me see how it appears. So it is thick blue. So for that it should be a light blue. So for that I'll go to my color picker and I'll get the color of this thing, and I'll copy this color, and back in my editor I'll give this color. I'll put hash and followed by color, so that my button color should change now. So it is changed, and as you can see now it is blue in color. And moreover, the text inside my button should be white in color. So for that I'll give a property text white, and I'll refresh. As you can see, the color has been changed to white color. And now I'll give some margin for my button, so that there will be some spacing top and bottom of my button. So I have given margin bottom and margin top. So as you can see, when there is some kind of padding for my placeholder with respect to my border, and when you click there is some color appears on the border, so I don't want that. So for that, first I'll give padding of 10 pixel and I'll copy this and I'll give it for my password field, and see there is some kind of padding is appeared. But when I click, as you can see here, the brownish border comes. To avoid that, I'll put outline to none, and I'll copy this and I'll paste it for username field also, and I'll save the page. As you can see, when I click there is no outline now. So this is my layout, which is exactly almost similar to that of the original website. Now I have to remove this border. Now to remove that, I'll go here and I'll remove this border and I'll save the page, and as you can see now my border has been removed. And I'll remove the top level border. As you can see, the top level border has been removed, and here I'll take care of this footer thing now. Since in my footer everything is stacked horizontally without any space, so I have to take care of this. Now let me give some width property to my footer div. So I'll give a width of some, say, 1200 pixel. So I given a width of 1200 pixel, and these anchor tags, they should have some spacing in between. For that, what I'll do is I'll just give justify content to be here. I'll take a class and I'll give width to 100%, and then I'll declare it as a flex, and then I'll give justify between. So as soon as I give, it takes equal amount of space between all my anchor tag elements. So I'll give text size, so I'll give text to be 15 pixels, and see my text size has been changed. So I'll give it on the parent div so that it will be applied for my both the divs. Now as you can see, there is some kind of spacing in between. So what I'll do is I'll declare it to be a flex. So I'll give some margin top so that some kind of space appears between the two divs. And now we have to take care of the space between the two anchor tags. For that, I'll specify it a width to be 30% of my parent. So as you can see, it has aligned to the left of my div. So I'll just justify between. So seems here I have to specify it as a flex and flex call and items to be center. So everything will be aligned towards center of my div. As you can see here, it has been aligned in the center of the div. Now with the inspector element, I'll try to fit the perfect size of this div so that a space comes in between them. So I'll try to increase or decrease here. So here I'll declare it as a flex. So as soon as I declare it as the flex, you can see some kind of space comes in between these two anchor tags. Now I'll remove this border green property as there is no border in the original div. As you can see here, there is no border here. Now the text color of these meta or anchor tags should be very light brownish kind of thing. So I'll copy that thing and I'll apply here, and I'll just slightly make the color changes. And as you can see now, they are not thick black in color, they are almost similar to that of the original website. So here I'll just apply, since text property is already applied, so that is the reason I'm getting this error. So let me remove that since I've already applied. So let me save this, and as you can see, our Instagram clone sign in page almost looks similar to that of the original sign in page of the Instagram website.